Hey guys, today on Ballard's Best, we're going to Peddler.
All right, Haley.
Hi.
Thanks so much for having us.
Of course.
Excited to go for round two. People aren't going to know, but we're going to tell them that we tried this before and had a technical difficulty. But would you take a second just to kind of introduce yourself and introduce Peddler and tell us a little bit about how long you guys have been here?
Great, yeah. So my husband and I started Peddler back in 2013.
Okay.
So 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago. And it was just the two of us. And we want to start a brewery.
Okay.
So here we are.
Yeah, so 6 years ago. So I take it that both you guys were working or doing something different beforehand.
Yes, yeah, I was a high school math teacher and Dave was an engineer at Boeing.
Okay, perfect. And so when you guys got started, what pulled you to decide to open a brewery?
Well, we had a very extensive homebrew setup going on in our house. Dave had been homebrewing for about 10 years prior, and as homebrewers know, it's a growing hobby that expands and expands and takes over your living space. And it had probably taken over about half of our condo that we were in. And I love teaching. It was great. It's probably my favorite job I've ever had, but it's the same job every year for the rest of your life, and I was interested in trying something new. I always wanted to start a business that's a customer service facing business, and Dave kind of had the same thing at Boeing, where he loved being an engineer, not necessarily being in a cubicle every day, and it was the job that he would have forever. And so we were excited to try a new venture and see how it goes, and if it failed, we just go back to the jobs that we had to begin with.
That's probably my favorite part. Is a lot of people who want to start a business or do something, it's kind of a big leap.
Yeah.
But in perspective, if we can just go back, like we can take a step backwards. So,
yes, exactly.
Good on you guys to recognize that right away. Okay, so 6 years ago, home brewing, taking over half your living space.
Yeah.
How did you guys decide on this particular location? Why Ballard? Like, tell how'd that come together?
Well, we wanted a space that was, it's kind of difficult because a lot of it has to do with zoning.
Right.
So you have to have industrial zoning, but not a lot of industrial zoning is near where people are out and about. And so Ballard's one of the unique places in the city where there's industrial zoning next to commercial and residential. So for the foot traffic coming into the tap room, that's really important. So we looked around at different places in the city. We wanted something that was also fairly accessible via bike, because that's kind of how Dave and I got around when we were going on dates, and we wanted a place that was comfortable to show up on a bike. So Dave actually got on his bike and just biked around the city and was looking for different spaces, and there was a for lease sign on this building. Okay. And we followed up with it and it ended up working out.
How close are you guys to the Burt Gilman?
We are 2 blocks from what would be the Burt Gilman when it's completed.
Right.
So that missing link section of it. Yeah.
So super close, super bikeable, right off 15th here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so the name Peddler, we had talked a little bit last time kind of about that, how you guys used to get around on bikes. Tell us a little bit, just kind of how, did you go through other names, or did you just know that that was what you were going to do?
Well, we spent a lot of time drinking together in our years dating. And as we were thinking about a place, we originally were thinking about a beer bar. And then eventually it kind of transitioned to, well, why not a brewery? Because Dave homebrews. And we were kind of kicking around ideas at one bar in Snohomish that had a bike hanging from the ceiling, and kind of throwing out words of bike parts, and then just kind of ended up with Peddler, and it sounded good. So then one drunken night, might have been the same night, maybe a different night, I went online and just applied for a business license, which is a very easy, very inexpensive venture. It's like $10 in 10 minutes and you have a business license. shows up in the mail a couple weeks later, and like, oh, okay, we did that.
Yep.
Do we actually want to follow up with it? And then the serious conversation started.
The initial piece is a pretty low barrier to
It's
entry.
such, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, here, it's on paper.
Yeah.
Oh God.
This looks official.
Looks
Yeah.
really good. That's awesome. And so,
With coming into Ballard and this space being available, setting up shop here, how long did it take you to like feel like you were really part of the community here? Was it like from the get-go people start showing up, or what was the lag time on putting this together?
So when we started leasing the spaces in the summer, and then we opened the following March, so about 9 months of build-out time.
Wow.
And it was slow because we kept our day jobs and we did the build-out ourselves.
Yeah.
So it was just in our downtime on evenings and weekends. So we built everything. We built the cold room by hand, we built the bar by hand, the tables, redid the bathroom, built the brew system from repurposed dairy tanks. So
wow.
There was a lot of that, a lot of bootstrapping in the process. The ceiling had to be scraped and repainted because there was chip paint everywhere. So there was a lot of work to be done with the space. And we were definitely very conscious about costs, and we didn't take out any loans on the build up, but we did do a Kickstarter because we were basically each month we would take our income from our day job, and whatever we hadn't used we would kick into the brewery account, and we're reaching a point where we just knew like we just need a little extra boost to get us there, otherwise it's just going to kind of drag on until we have the money. So the Kickstarter really helped us gain a lot of publicity in the community that we weren't expecting. We did a Kickstarter with a goal of $5,000 and we raised $18,000.
That's amazing.
And so it was fantastic for the money to help us get started, and it was also fantastic for just the publicity of all these people knew about us and were excited about us. So when we opened our doors, we already had a bunch of fans that were excited to come in.
Well, because they're a part of your story now.
Yeah, exactly. And we did a lot of posts. If you go back to our early Facebook, you can see lots of build out posts. I would do like a collage a week of what we were building, and so people could kind of just see Dave and I, that it's just the two of us building things and all that kind of stuff. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
There was another brewery that I knew that they actually went door to door. I think it was before Kickstarter existed.
Oh yeah.
And they went door to door in their community and said, hey, this is what we're doing. Do you want to be a part of it?
Oh wow.
And so when they opened, they had a similar, because everyone knew them, they knew the story, they were part of it, and so building that sense of community. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one of the things I always like to talk about, this is a good segue, right? To talk about kind of being in Ballard and what it means to you guys, and being a part of this, you know, because it's kind of a city within a city. It's it's super walkable. Do you guys find yourselves like doing a lot of stuff with just the community in general, or how do you see your place, you know, community-wise in Ballard?
Well, as far as, I mean, from a business to business side, I would say like a thing I love about Ballard is that, you know, the construction that we do, the stuff that Dave does, there are places within walking distance that we can go to. Our tent, the pipes from it, we needed replacement for a couple. There's a shop 3 blocks down. Dave and I would carry the pipes back and forth. There's all kinds of, you know,
carrying pipes across Leary.
We totally did. Our beer garden is full of stuff from San Bay Sand and Gravel, and also the Dirt Exchange, and you know, there's just everything here. Upholstery stuff we can get locally. It's just fantastic to be able to have all of that within the little community and not have to leave Ballard.
Walking distance.
It really is. Everything is walking distance. Cash and carry is walking distance for Apple Juice and Office Max. It's great. So I really like that aspect of it, and that's kind of one of those fun things about being in a mixed-use space is you've got all these different things around. As far as people in the community, we love doing events. I didn't really think that my job would be to become a full-time event planner, basically, but it has. I've since passed it off to somebody else, but yeah, events just bring people in. They get excited. They love, you know, having a reason to go somewhere, not just to have a beer, but something else. Whether it's our astronomy on tap night, so they can come hear from the UW students about, you know, the latest and greatest in astronomy, or it's Pun Slam, where people compete telling puns and it's hilarious, or our movie nights, or fundraisers supporting local nonprofits. So yeah, it's really fun to do that, and also like have people really feel that we are, you know, a part of the community, and a sense of that. And I think that there's definitely an understanding of the small business aspect as well.
Yeah, those, and one of the things we talked about last time when during my technical difficulties was kind of the how you guys organize with some of the charitable events and stuff like that. That's super interesting, because if I remember correctly, it allows you guys to do a lot of reach out to a lot of different organizations. And so how does for people who haven't been here for one of those events, what does that look like?
Well, it depends. So some of the fundraiser nights that we do are just simply $1 a pint is donated, and the nonprofit is on site and talking about their organization and getting out their mission. Others are more elaborate. So for example, Washington Wild is an organization that works to preserve public lands and rivers and all of that. And we've done a collaboration beer with them. This year we collaborated with 3 other local breweries and produced a beer that we donated a portion of the sales to. We all did, and all the bars that it was in. And then we also hosted a night where we showed a documentary about the, I can't remember what it was this year. I think it was about the Alpine Lakes Wilderness, or maybe that was last year. But and then people come in and can watch the documentary and hear about the nonprofit, and then we also donate additional funds from that fundraiser night.
That's
so
awesome.
Some are more extensive like that, some of them are just like a one-off night. Yeah.
Those ones where the vendor comes in, are you reaching out to them, or are they reaching out? Because it's different. It's not always the same people all the time.
Yeah, it definitely, it's kind of grown. At this point, we have a lot of people that we partnered with in the past that we kind of continue that relationship. We don't have unlimited amount of nights available to do fundraisers, unfortunately, and a lot of people have already, or a lot of organizations we've already worked with, so we continue. But there are spots when we can make it available to do fundraisers. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now I know we had done, you know, and nobody's gonna know except that I'm telling them that I screwed up.
I get to see you twice. There you go.
It's fun. I love it. I know there was some stuff that we had talked about last time, and I'm sure I'm forgetting to bring up. But is there anything that that from last time that, or when we were putting this together, that you thought would be important to kind of share with the community at large and let them know a little bit more about you guys, or what didn't I ask you that I should have? That's basically what it comes down to.
I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Well, I super appreciate you cutting out time for us and giving us the opportunity to kind of learn a little bit about you guys and about how you guys came together, and the brewery, and hopefully people, if they haven't seen those events, if they haven't seen a lot of the stuff they put on, because I'll get, you know, like 3 or 4 notifications at a time. Oh, there's Peddler just lined out their next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time to share with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.